Hey, is this thing on? Hello? Hit it again. I think it's on now. Welcome to Hiker Trash Radio, where each week, Doc will drag some colorful characters out of the woods to talk trail and Type 2 fun. If you're aspiring hiker trash, or if you're just looking to understand the hiker trash in your life, look no further. So lace up those boots, gnaw on some jerky, and settle into your 20-mile pace as we fire up the podcast from somewhere deep in the backcountry. It's time to embrace the suck.
All right. Hey, welcome back to another week on the trail. Dirtbags, hiker trash, and of course, those good-smelling day hikers. I'm Doc, and this is Hiker Trash Radio. Hey, if you like what we're doing here, help us out. Take just a minute, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you don't like what we're doing, well, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. All right, let's get to this week's guest, Thru hiker, Vice President of Six Moon Designs, and all-around Renaissance man, Whitney Ruffa. Welcome back to Hiker Trash, Whitney. How's it going?
Great, Doc. How are you?
Fantastic. Let me do that line one more time because I blew it.
Okay.
Welcome back to Hiker Trash Radio, Whitney. How's it going?
It's going fantastic, Doc. Thanks for having me back.
Always excited to have the incredible, legendary Allgood on the show. Thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, totally. Glad to be here.
Now, I just blew it right there. Your trail name. I mean, your trail name is Allgood. How did you come by Allgood?
I mean, it was like the mid-'90s, and, everything was all good. And it was a big catchphrase, and I was 18. I said it all the time, and it kind of got dubbed Allgood. It's like, if it rain, I'm like, it's all good. It's just some rain. Or, it's like, it's wet. It's fine. You'll be fine. You're not going to die. And, it's kind of have a, pretty just kind of roll with the punches attitude when I'm out there in the bush.
That's right. 18 years old, 2,200 miles on the Appalachian Trail.
That is correct. What were my parents thinking? Can't believe they let me go.
Yeah, I just imagine the conversation between the two of them. Hey, let's take him down and drop him off down in.
Oh, no, they didn't drop me off. They dropped me at Penn Station. I took a train to the Appalachian Trail.
Even better.
I took a train and like multiple rides with strangers to the Appalachian Trail. Totally better. No, actually, my mother wasn't going to let me go. My father was like, dude, we made a deal with him. I can't back out of the deal. I made a deal with him like 4 years ago. If he pulled all these things, he could go. He hit all the metrics. I have to let him go. He's like, if I don't let him go, he'll never trust us ever again. So more power to the old man.
And imagine their surprise when you showed back up after finishing the hike. Did they make you take the train back?
No, I flew back from Maine. I had to be at college. Okay. I started at Virginia Tech 3 days after I summited Mount Katahdin. You hear a lot of people talk about reentry and how hard it is now. But in 1996, no one talked about that. It was just like, oh, you finished the trail? Here's a college dorm with more people living in it than you've seen in the last 6 months of your life. This should be interesting.
Culture shock. Now, did you know that date was approaching as you're finishing up on the AT? I mean, was it a deadline you had to meet?
I had to meet. The deal was you can go hike the Appalachian Trail if you graduate high school early, between high school and college, but you have to check into college in the fall term when you're registered to go to college. So I had a hard out deadline of August 20th, no matter what, because that gave me just enough time to fly from Maine to Long Island and have a day in Long Island to get my car and my dog that I found on the AT that my parents brought back from New Hampshire for me to be able to drive to Virginia, get him settled, and check on my dorm room to start class 2 days later.
Now, through hiking the AT, did that make you a better college student?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think if I hadn't gone, if I had just gone from high school to college, I probably would have flunked out of college, honestly. I just loved to party, and I was a bit of an animal in high school. And then, the AT, really made me grow up a lot. I mean, when you're 18, you're around a lot of other 18-year-olds, but, all of you, to some degree, have something together. You're there right then and there. But you're, especially back then, there was 200 of us hiking the AT, you're immersed with a lot of people that are either recent college grads or between the age of 23 and 30. And then fair amount of guys who are retirees. So I think it made me grow up a lot quicker than probably, most other 18-year-olds. Like when you're on your own, you got to manage everything on your own. It's like you're not just managing for the first time moving out of your house from your parents. Like you're also managing like now I'm doing a through hike at the same time. So it's like it's a lot of change all at once. And I think when I got to college, it was a little easier for me. It's like, well, I already know how to do my laundry. Like I do my laundry once a week when I get to town, and I know how to handle finances because I've been doing finances every week when I get to town. So yeah, I think maybe a better student, probably more like focused and goal oriented too.
Now, any high school students listening to this episode who are planning to pitch their parents on going on a long through hike before college, these are the reasons you should use. I mean, Allgood is providing you with your argument right here.
Totally. I mean, like now a big thing's like a gap year for high school students. Like, oh, he took a gap year. And it's like in 1996, the concept of a gap year, it didn't exist in the circle of people I knew. Maybe like the super uber wealthy, like bougie people of like the Hamptons of Long Island, maybe it existed for them, but like that wasn't an option when I was in high school. I mean, that was like, oh, like you want to take time off to go hike? Like, well, you better figure out how to do that between like high school and college. It's like that just wasn't a concept. And the reality is like probably taking a year off for most people or half a year probably does allow them that time to kind of mature and grow up a lot where they'll be a better college student. I mean, college is really expensive now too. I mean, you think when I went to college is super cheap. I mean, you could go to college for like $6,000 a year when I went to college, in the late 90s.
Yeah. So your parents gave you a gap 3 months, the same gap 3 months you've been getting
6 months.
The previous,
6 months.
The previous 17 summers.
Yeah.
All right.
I graduated a semester early.
Oh, nice. That worked out perfect.
Yeah, it worked out perfect. Yep.
Yeah. You caught me by surprise there. I didn't anticipate you telling me you graduated a semester early. I expected the opposite.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Semester early, worked all through high school at a restaurant. Yeah, man, I saved up a lot of money. I had like $5,000 in cash when I hiked the AT. And like 96, having $5,000 in cash would be like having like 20 grand now, Like that was a lot of money back then. Yeah, it was great. I went to college with cash in my pocket. It was fantastic.
Now, Allgood, you not only have you been on a couple of times before, but you are also a sponsor. Six Moon Designs is a sponsor of Hiker Trash Radio. So you are pretty familiar with the format. I just want to remind you, we do have a segment towards the end where I'm going to turn to you and ask you to share a hiking hack with our listeners to make their next outdoor experience even better. So it's a bit of advice, some trail wisdom, whatever you might have tucked up your sleeve there. So don't be surprised.
Thanks for the reminder. I completely forgot that you asked for a hiker hack at the end of the day.
Okay. All right. A lot of surprises today. We'll start with our first one.
Okay.
Trailblazers Toolkit.
That's right. It's my favorite segment. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. It's time for the Trailblazers Toolkit, sponsored by the ultralight backpacking gear company, Six Moon Designs. I love to talk about gear on the podcast, and I love to hear about the most important item in my guest adventure gear. So Allgood, if you were preparing for your next adventure, and I was the one providing you with all your gear, what is the one specific piece of gear you'd insist on being packed? Give me all the details on that piece of gear. Tell me why you've got to have it out there. This could be any kind of item. It could be gear, it could be apparel, it could be a luxury item, or it could be some other category that I'm unfamiliar with. And you could surprise me here. So Allgood, what is that item in your toolkit?
Probably a wind shirt.
A wind shirt?
The wind shirt to me is like the ultimate piece of apparel. It's 1.5 to 3 ounces, depending on the size and the fabric. It has a water repellent finish. So you can wear it in a light mist in the morning. If it's like misting, you can wear it in that. But I wear it every morning when I leave camp in the dark because it retains my body heat. When the sun comes out, I usually pull it off, shove it in the pocket. Whenever I take a break up on a summit or a pass or something and the wind's blowing, I always put it on to retain my body heat. I wear a lot when it's buggy. Like, if it's really buggy, I'll put it on because bugs can't bite through it, even if it's kind of warm out. I wear it at night as a vapor barrier. I wear it underneath my fleece as a vapor barrier in inclement weather. So to me, the wind shirt is probably the ultimate piece of gear, like apparel-wise. I would definitely insist on having it in my pack at all times.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Allgood, but Six Moon Designs does not sell wind shirts. They don't sell apparel, right?
We don't sell apparel at all. I mean, we have some like clearance merino wool t-shirts right now.
Yeah,
maybe I missed the mark not suggesting one of my own products, but I mean,
I
you want the honest truth from an expert. The honest truth is if I was going to pack one thing insists in my pack, it would be that wind shirt.
Whitney, you're beating me to the punch here. I was going to say that Six Moon Designs, they specialize in packs, tents, and umbrellas. And since you don't have wind shirts, I mean, do you have a recommended manufacturer for the wind shirt? Is there a favorite brand?
I mean, I'm a really big Montbell guy. I mean, full disclaimer, I've been sponsored by Montbell for like over a decade, but I mean, frankly, their new wind shirt is like kind of has some stretch material to it. They make an anorak. I like an anorak, especially for a wind shirt. I don't need all that zipper. Like if the zipper is going to be down all the way, the wind shirt's going to be off. So it's like I just need a half zip. And just like, I just really like Montbell. They make good quality stuff. It's pretty affordable. So that's the one I go to. I would say the other one that's highly rated, I've never tried, would be the Patagonia Houdini. I know that's like a go-to by a lot of my friends also. But I would say Montbell or the Montbell Tachyon or the, Patagonia Houdini. Both of those would be great choices.
Okay. Now, is there an item at Six Moon Designs that you're excited about that you would like to maybe mention or promote? Since you are a sponsor, I want to give you this opportunity to toot your own wares here.
So something I would recommend bringing or insist on having in my pack from Six Moon Designs?
Yes.
Yeah. I would say any of our Silver Shadow or Rainwalker umbrellas. An umbrella of some sort from our collection of umbrellas. I started using an umbrella many moons ago, no pun intended. And, it's just a great piece of gear. I actually use it probably just as much in hot inclement weather as I do in cold, wet weather. The umbrella is just an all around, just game changer for hiking long distances during the day. It's like when it's cold and wet, you're warm underneath there. You stay drier. You can take a break. I mean, even in the middle of the night, you think about getting up 3 a.m, have to go to the bathroom, take a leak. It's like having an umbrella on an inclement weather, pee stop in the middle of the night. Fantastic. I mean, it just changes the whole game. And then, when it's really hot and sunny, I mean, the Oregon Desert Trail, the only shade we had for a week was our umbrellas. 3 of us are huddle up next to a sage bush and hide underneath our umbrellas trying to make shade, So it's I mean, anything in our line, say any of our umbrellas, you can't go wrong with any of them. They have a price point and a weight penalty, associated with the price point for everybody. But I mean, that would be a go-to out of our collection for sure.
Next level. And you've been gracious enough to give Hiker Trash Radio a discount code for all Six Moon Designs products. And so if you're interested in purchasing yourself one of those fantastic umbrellas, you can use Hiker Trash Podcast 24 for your discount code and get a nice discount there.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Please do.
Right.
Get yourself
all right. Hey, let's keep talking. Let's move to our next segment.
It's the hiking pole.
It's the hiking pole, Allgood, and that's pole spelled with 2 L's, like a survey, not like the things you carry in your hands out there. This is another one of your favorite sections with rapid fire questions. This is a 7-question survey that's going to help me give you a score on the sanity scale from 1 to 100, with 1 being completely insane and 100 being completely sane. Now,
we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's an automatic 40-point deduction for any triple crowners that come on the show. So
I'm not a triple crowner, so that works out perfectly.
You're not a triple crowner. Are you missing the PCT?
I haven't had the PCT. Yeah, PCT. Okay. I'm missing that one. Yeah.
Okay. It's only 25 points.
Retire, Doc. I got to say something for when I retire.
Yes, you do. So it's only a 25-point deduction. So your highest possible score tonight is 75.
Okay.
Now I have 3 sets of questions. How many times have you done the hiking pole? I think you've been on twice before. Did you do them both times?
Before. I did. So this will be my 3rd time.
Okay. Did we ask you some questions that had nothing to do with hiking on one of those?
I believe so.
Okay. Then I'm going to go to the 3rd set. I have a 3rd set of questions. It is
Let's go for that.
The advanced hiking questions.
Perfect. It's like my LSTAT. This is like the LSTAT for through hikers right here. Is that what you're telling me?
That's it.
All right. Here's the LSTAT.
If you get a high enough score, you actually get an honorary degree. So
okay. If Bill and Jim go in the woods, was Jim a mass murderer? That's like how an LSAT question would add. You're like, huh?
All right, here we go. Question number one. Now, you're going to give me your answer. You're also going to explain your answer. It's like you're back in school. You have to show your work.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Show your work.
All
Gotcha.
right. Yeah. So question number one, when you were huddled underneath the umbrella next to the scrub on the Oregon, was it Oregon Desert Trail?
Oregon Desert Trail, yep.
Oregon Desert Trail. What are your top 3 topics of conversation on the trail? When you're with other people, what do you like to talk about?
Well, I mean, generally I'm going to talk about what I'm eating. That's going to be number one's going to be what I'm currently eating, but more so what I wish I was eating in town. So that right there is going to be at least a third of the conversation we're probably going to have daily while on trail, for sure. Fact. What other topics and conversations do I like to have on trail? I've tried to solve the world's problems. Still haven't come up with the solutions, but I definitely talk about a lot of geopolitical factors affecting the world. And that could be a pretty broad subject. I'm a pretty well-read guy. Still like to stay informed. So that would be, another third of the day. And then a third of the day would probably be just telling you funny stories of my life, either on or off trail, where I've just made a complete ass of myself. And that could include things like pooping my pants in Glacier National Park, hiking the CDT, to, maybe some bad things that happened in high school, anywhere along the line, from hitting a dumpster with a car to, things like that. So, I mean, it's really a broad variety of self-deprecating stories that'll just endear me more to you while we're out there.
All good. I want to hike with you, man. This is what I'm here for.
Well, that's the fun part of hiking with me.
Yeah.
The dark side of hiking with me is just as dark on the other side, trust me.
Yikes. Okay. Question number 2. In all your time out there on the trails, what is the best trail name you've encountered?
Probably really not politically appropriate at this point in the world. But in 96, there was a hiker named Smokeahonis. And I don't know, that name just always made me laugh because the dude just smoked so much pot. And it was just what? But, yeah, that's probably a pretty good one. Damn, what else? I mean, there's a gazillion acorns, and Brush was a good name. Iceman's a good name. I don't know. That's probably the most memorable one, though, honestly.
Okay. I mean, it came right to your mind. I mean, that had to be the one, so.
I mean, it had to be the one. I mean, the 90s were not a very, it was a different world, people. Probably some trail names that didn't age well, and that would be one of them. That's all I can say.
All right. Question number 3. Toilet paper?
Yep.
Bidet, leaves, sticks, rocks, snow. What's your preference?
Ooh. Do I have to give it in order, or
No.
You
get to pick one. If you had this available to you, this is what you would use all the time.
I'd probably use snow. Not the corn snow, though. That lake corn snow can be pretty rough. But snow's great toilet paper. It's it's kind of like a wet wipe. It's like nature's wet wipe. It's it's all in one. It's you get the benefits of the water and the cleaning properties of paper all at the same time.
Nature's wet wipe. Now, all good. I'm always on the lookout for a trail name for the episode. Some kind of turn of phrase, something funny that comes out during the episode. This episode might be titled Nature's Wet Wipe with Whitney.
I mean, I am totally fine if you want to name an episode with me, Nature's Wet Wipe. I just want you to know that right now. And my mother and father, I guarantee, will listen to this podcast, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're so proud of you," and they'll be thinking, "Wow, really? We paid for him to go to Virginia Tech, and this is when he comes up with Nature's Wet Wipe."
They better listen to the episode
how to make toilet paper.
They better listen to the episode because they've now been mentioned twice. They're on track for a good 7 or 8 mentions.
There you go, dude. I mean, I owe them a lot in life. What can I say? Call your parents, folks. They miss you. Trust me. Call them from trail. They miss you.
Say it louder for the people in back.
Yeah, exactly.
Question number 4, breakfast in camp, on trail, or no breakfast for you?
Oh, no breakfast in camp. I'm not a savage. If we're going to walk for 14 to 16 hours a day, why do you not want to start with breakfast? I mean, that's I don't understand the kids these days. They're like, I don't bring a stove. I'm like, why do you hate yourself? Like, I never eat breakfast. I'm like, do you hate yourself? Like, I don't know about you, but after I've walked 20 miles a day before, when I wake up in the morning, I'm hungry. So why wouldn't I just eat breakfast in the comfort of my sleeping bag in my tent before I have to pack up in the cold and walk out of there?
People right now are listening to this and are adjusting their list of gear for the next hike.
Exactly. Yeah. Soto Windmaster Pro, you'll be thanking me.
All right. Question number 5. Do you prefer solo hiking or hiking with others?
I prefer to hike with others.
You seem like a very social guy.
I'm a pretty social person. I enjoy the company of others. It doesn't mean we're going to like hold hands and talk all day, but I also like the fact that like there's someone else out there. I mean, I do a lot of routes like in very remote areas, and it's like the reality is like something happens. It's kind of nice to have someone with you in case something does happen, you know? And I don't know. What's wrong with liking people? I like people. I mean, maybe we should all like people more. Maybe the world would be a kinder, gentler place if we just made space in our lives to spend some time walking with someone at human speed and getting to know them. And just like along those lines, honestly, like the last 950 miles of the CDT I hiked with somebody that like politically speaking, like we couldn't be farther apart on the spectrum. And like, honestly, like we had 30 just great days hiking together, laughs, and you know, we agreed to disagree on things, but you know, we found common ground that we both believed in. And I think that's the whole point of like hiking is, you know, kind of helps break down a lot of barriers for people and, you know, taking the time to slow life down and get away from, you know, society can be really good, even if you're someone that maybe you don't agree with on a lot of things in town.
It's fantastic. I had a previous guest suggest that anybody who is wanting to be a candidate for president, one of the prerequisites should be that you have walked across the country and seen the world at human speed.
Yeah, dude, it makes a big difference. It really does. Especially, I mean, I live in like super uber liberal Portland, Oregon, and like I spend a lot of my free time in very rural America in the deserts. Let's just say as a 200 plus pound long haired male who hikes in a skirt, you get a lot of looks rolling into town. And, you know, at the end of the day, I've met some great people and had some great conversations. So, yeah, you kind of get out of the world. You get out of the world what you put into it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I like hiking with other people.
Absolutely. Question number 6. I want you to rank the following. I'm going to give you 3 items. I want you to tell me which is your most favorite, your second most favorite, and your least favorite of these 3 items. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Here we go. 5 miles severe uphill, 5 miles severe downhill, 20-mile road walk on asphalt.
Definitely my least favorite would be that 5 mile downhill. It's going to hurt my knees a lot. I'm going to say the 20-mile asphalt road walk. It's probably in the middle. I mean, I could go either way, too. It's like, it was a nice road walk. Well, asphalt's pretty rough. Yeah, it's in the middle. Then I'd say 5 miles hard uphill. I mean, I don't mind a hard uphill. It's like, you feel like you accomplished something at the end, you know?
Exactly.
And you know, the whole time, it's like, you know it's going to end. You know, it's like, you're like, oh, come on already. But it's like, you know it's going to end. It's like, it's got to end. It's got to stop going up at some point. So, yeah, I'd say that's probably my favorite out of those 3.
Okay. It's a good explanation. Yeah. Corollary question. This isn't an official question, just a curiosity question. Is there anything worse on trail than false tops, false summits?
Yeah, poison oak, man. Like unavoidable poison oak or ivy where like, you know, you have to go through it. If you're as allergic as I am, that's pretty much like life. It's hell on earth. You're like, oh man, the rest of this hike are going to be covered in rashes and blisters. It's not going to be fun.
Fair point. I can see the value in that answer. All right.
Yeah.
Question number 7.
Okay.
Life is better above or below the tree line?
I mean, once again, that answer is really weather dependent, but I would just say from a iconic hiking scene memories I have in my life, above tree line all the way.
All right.
I mean, those memories that really stick with you in life of hiking are usually like either right at tree line or above tree line in a long expanse, maybe a big ridge of like undulating territory, just like a big roller coaster. It's just like, those are what you always like kind of stick out in my mind when I think of like a place. Like when I think of like the CDT, I always think of like that border of Montana and Idaho north of Lima, from like Lima to Ledor. I mean, a lot of people complain about it, but I don't really know why, because like you're actually on the physical divide. Like the border is the physical divide, and you just walk along the border. It's like all this up and down. And again, there's a lot of like putty, like up and down. But it's like you're actually on the divide. It's wide open. You can see forever. It's just like, man, that's just such awesome terrain. I love that stuff.
I'm going to give you a bonus point for using the word undulating. That was very impressive.
Okay. All right.
Yes. All right. So
Like I
this
said,
is the
well done.
mathematical portion of the episode. I'm going to take my shoes off. We're going to use all 20 digits here. Okay, I've got to carry the 3. Going to multiply by
Okay.
pi. Going to divide by root 5, of course. And then I'm going to make a slight adjustment for the number of poop your pants stories we're going to hear tonight. And I come up with a score of 43.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds more like on the crazy side.
It's slightly closer to crazy. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe I'm getting myself together. I figured I would have been more on the crazy side. Yeah, I'm pretty crazy. I mean, I get it.
Do you remember your previous scores?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm
neither do
sure a super fan will go back and let you know.
That's right.
Please do. Listen to past episodes. Maybe you
I'm
can
gonna
link
get-
them here in the bio.
I'm going to get 17 emails.
It's like by the Triple Crown of Hiker Trash Radio episodes. Actually, my first one was the John Freaking Muir podcast. So I don't know how that all ties together. I've been through the rebranding and everything.
Yes, you go way back. You're a Hiker Trash Radio Triple Crowner. Nice. I love
There
it.
you go. Yep.
I got to get
Yep.
you a hat with that on it.
There we go. I'll work to the gathering this fall. Don't you worry.
All right. Hey, all good. Before we get too far down the trail, let's back up just a little bit. Remind us
Okay.
where you grew up. I know you mentioned the Northwest. Is that where you grew up?
No, I moved here after college in 2000. But no, I grew up most of my life in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And then when I was in high school, we moved to Long Island. So East Coast, went to college in Virginia. So, East Coast based. But the bulk of that time, 15 years, was spent living in New Hampshire.
Okay. And tell us how you extracted a promise from your dad at age 14 to allow you to hike the AT. Where did the whole motivation come from as a teenager?
Yeah, I mean, I was
doing the AT?
I was a Boy Scout. So I was like 10 and a half, and I went on like a Boy Scout trip hiking in the White Mountains and learned about the Appalachian Trail. And it just happened to coincide at the same time. I just read a book called Dove about a 16-year-old kid who goes and sails around the world solo. And I was like, man, I'd like to hike that Appalachian Trail thing. So I like at 14 was like, or I guess like at 10, I learned about it. But I was like, I'm probably 13, 14. I was like, I want to take a year off and go hike the Appalachian Trail. My parents were like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I was like, why not? Like, I like to hike. I'm good at hiking. I don't really like school. Like, why can't I go hiking? Like, this guy sailed around the world. He's only 2 years older than me. And we kind of went back and forth. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it before I go to college. And like, well, you have to go to college. Because I was like, I'll just do it when I'm 18. So they made a deal like, if I could graduate high school with a certain type of diploma so I could go to a state school in New York and had enough money to do it on my own and still go to fall term, I could go, like when I was supposed to go to college. So I didn't eat lunch all through high school, and I took extra classes and got a Regents diploma and graduated in, I guess, technically January of 96. Like, pretty much my senior year of high school was like 2 gym classes, 2 English classes, a statistics class, and like a home ec class and band. That was my day. And graduated in January and went hiking on the Appalachian Trail in March. So I pulled it off. But I also worked like mega hours in high school at a restaurant. I worked during the week and on the weekends. So like pretty much all weekend I worked in a restaurant.
And that is a serious goal and some serious focus to achieve that goal as a teenager. I mean, that's a great work ethic right there.
It was. And, still being like as messed up as a teenager could be in the 90s, I mean, like, yeah, it was kind of a wild time. So yeah, but it all kind of worked out. And then I went there and I would honestly like contribute hiking the Appalachian Trail at that age to like probably setting my life on a proper course instead of probably a pretty self-destructive course I was on previous.
Okay.
So,
and any siblings?
yeah, 3 siblings, 2 older brothers and a younger sister.
And are they all through hikers as well?
They are the farthest thing from through hikers you can imagine. I have one brother who's also an Eagle Scout. He enjoys camping, but not. I think our ideas of hiking or what a hike entails, I would say, are vastly different than, I mean, when I hike in a day, he might hike in a week, so to speak. There's anything wrong with that. It's just how it is, And my sister, no, she's pretty urban. She's really smart. She's an architect. She's actually a genius. So yeah. And my other brother, he's a big fisherman. We're all like, all three boys are really big. Like, we all love to fish. My dad was a huge fisherman, so like I fish a ton too. So yeah.
Now, are you implying with that comment about your sister that really smart people, geniuses, are not? They're not thru hikers, or thru hikers are not geniuses?
Not at all. I've met a lot of thru hikers with PhDs who are geniuses. I think my sister just when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail, my sister came out to like hike for like 5 days with me, and she made it like one day, like pretty easy that first night. We camped out, and the next day, like by like 3 in the afternoon, I had to find. Luckily, there was an older gentleman who was hiking around me, who'd been hiking around me for a long time on the AT. His wife had like a van because she was kind of supporting him, and she was able to get my sister back off trail and somewhere safe and warm, and get her back to my parents. So yeah, I think my sister quickly realized that what a thru hike is not the romantic idea of what people think it is. I think she got a real taste of the reality of it. So, which also leads me to one. Okay, can I give? This isn't even my hiker hack. This is a piece of advice I like to give every thru hiker listening to the show right now. If you ever set off on a 5 to 6 month hike, and you have a friend or relative who says, "Hey, I want to meet you at X point on the trail and hike with you for X number of days," you should tell them, "I really appreciate you want to come hike with me, but I really don't think that's a good idea." Because the problem is, when you've been on trail for 3 months or 4 months, you have trail legs, and you are in the zone of ripping 25-mile days without even thinking about it. And that person just got off the couch. They're probably expecting like a 15-mile day. And unless you're willing to slow way down, which I'm just going to be honest, that's the dark side of my hiking style. Like, I like to grind and I like miles, and I don't want to wait. And it's like, it just leads to conflict. You're just better off to go for a hike when you guys get back together. That's my one piece of serious advice to anybody.
That's
no fun for the hiker. No fun for the thru hiker or the person coming to meet a thru hiker.
Yes. Great advice.
Yeah.
I was going to say that if people are looking for the romantic side of hiking, it's almost setting it up for problems, because it's all about expectations versus reality. It all depends on what your expectations are going in. If you think it's going to be some romantic romp down the trail, I mean, you're going to be sorely disappointed, and you're going to be in trouble.
Not at all. Yeah. Completely.
Okay. Hey, Allgood, I think this is a perfect time to take a quick break, hear from some advertisers, pay some bills, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what's new at Six Moon Designs, as well as a couple of, I'm hoping, maybe poop your pants stories. So stay tuned for that, listeners. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We are talking to Whitney Ruffa, Vice President of Six Moon Designs, Renaissance man, not a triple crown, two of the three, not a triple crowner, and having a lot of fun. We're going to get to our second segment here. And first of all, I want to find out what you've been up to since the last time we talked. What are your more recent adventures?
I've just been really like travel heavy for work. I'm not quite sure the last time we talked, but since last fall, I came back from my hike in Iceland, and then I went to Japan for 2 weeks for work in November, like late October, November. That was great. Visited with a lot of our different customers. There were like 130 shops over there. Traveled all over the country with my distributor. It was really cool. Did a big road trip. Then over the winter, I did some Alda West rucks, which are like beginner backpacker weekend courses. Did some of those. I went to CDT Kickoff. I did a week hike in the Gila Wilderness, which is really, really cool. Me and my good friend Shira, Renee Patrick, we went down there together. We met before kickoff, and we went for like a 5-day hike in the Gila. And she kind of like made me fall back in love with backpacking, because we didn't really have like a set agenda. I think one day we hiked 5 miles. We just like hiked down to the river, and we camped out, and she hung out, read a book, and camp, and I went fishing for 4 hours. And it kind of reset, like, oh yeah, the reason I love being out here is I just love being outside. And like, it was really good, like really calm, like slowed things down. It was really a great reconnection with backpacking. Then I went to Germany. I went to AT Trail Days. And then since then, I've been home for the summer, and it's been really nice. I haven't been on the road a lot in the last 18 months, so I've just been kind of hanging out in Portland. My wife and I bought paddleboards. We've been paddleboarding. We've been pack rafting. I've gone fishing like every weekend I could out in the ocean. So I've just been kind of enjoying the summer. So,
Nice.
and then getting ready for a hike this fall.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you were together with Shira, did the two of you reminisce about your common experience of being guests on Hiker Trash Radio?
I think we did mention that, yes, quite a few times. Yeah.
Nice.
It's the highlight of our conversations. Yeah.
Of course.
You know, it's just it's really awesome. You know, I've been friends with Shira for like 15 years, and we had never been backpacking together. We've been on like weekend hut trips up in like Mount Hood when we're all like in a winter hut, like skiing, but we had never been backpacking together. And, you know, we're like 3 days apart in age. It was like backpacking with like a female version of myself. And then she said the same thing about me. It was like hiking with our own person. It was so great. We had so much fun. It was just like, we just had a great time. We had a wonderful time up there. She's a great person to backpack with. You ever get the opportunity? She's so chill. I love hiking with her.
She was so much fun to talk to. She was great to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, there's few people in the hiking world that are thru hikers that have made such an impact positively for other thru hikers. Like the work she did on the ODT completely changed that trail, hands down. Like she came in with a thru hiker mindset. Like it's maybe the easiest logistical trail to ever plan because the way she laid it out is exactly what a thru hiker needs. And it's like you make a donation to the trail organization, you get all the information, and it's like literally a turnkey trail to go do. So big props to Shira.
Yes, big props. And you answered, I had a question about if you were hiking with yourself, would you be sick of yourself? I mean, could you take hiking with yourself or would you embrace it and really enjoy it? It sounds like you would enjoy hiking with yourself.
Oh, dude, we laughed all day. We had so much fun. And it was just like nothing phases. It was great. Yeah, it was awesome. I think I can handle myself.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm a pretty fun person to hike with. I'm pretty fun in the backcountry. I have my moments, don't we all? But for the most part, it's a lot of laughs.
Yes. All right. Hey, let's talk about your AT and your CDT hikes. Those, because I know you've hiked 2 of the 3. So what are your go-to stories? Do you have any poop your pants stories from either one of those trails?
Well, the CDT definitely. On the CDT, well, which time should I tell you?
Which
There's
time?
multiple times with the CDT. I'll start with the funniest one. So we had left. So the morning I left East Glacier, headed north, I had this gigantic breakfast of like cream cheese stuffed French toast and like bacon and sausage. And then that afternoon, I got to 2 Medicine, and it was like they were closing down for the season. So it was like they were like me and my buddy walked in to get our permits, and we went to like the store. And like, oh, like we're shutting like at 5 o'clock. The store shuts for the year. So like you can have all this chili. So like I just kept eating like all these bowls of chili, and then we bought hot dogs, and we went like made hot dogs in the pouring rain over a really crappy fire in our campsite. And ate these hot dogs. So the next day we're hiking. And like we're going up trail all day, and like my stomach is not good all day. Like I had like a double oatmeal for breakfast, like a carnation instant breakfast, and like you know I pooped in the morning, but it wasn't satisfying. I knew it was in me after like 2 days of gluttony, and we're hiking, and we're about like 2 miles from Red Eagle Lake, and I go to fart, and I just absolutely crap in my pants. I was just like, it is just a disaster. I mean, it's like the throw your underwear out kind of disaster. I'm like, oh God, let's stop. Get cleaned up. And now it's like get cleaned up at the same time. My GI system's like, we're going to purge everything out of your system in the next like 3 hours that we can. In these next 2.5 miles, you get to camp. We're going to make sure there's nothing left in you when you get there. So we finally get down to the first campground, and we're sitting at the other end of the lake. We get to the first campground. And my friend had gotten sick when we were in the Bob Marshall, so he'd eaten all my Imodium. So I had no Imodium left. We had no Imodium between the two of us. And we get to Red Eagle, to the first campsite. We're sitting at the other end, and I run into this French couple, this like older French couple that had hiked around on the CDT, Paul and Alice. And I'm like, hey, Paul, or Paul, I should tell him, like, Paul. I'm like trying to be quiet. I'm like, hey, Paul, there's all these like tourist hikers around. Like, it's like dinner time. And I'm like, hey, Paul. He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you have any Imodium? And he's like, of course I have Imodium. Why would you ask such a thing? And like in front of all these tourists stop and look at me, and I just went, because I just crapped my pants, Paul. That's why. If you need to know, I just put my pants up the trail. I have no Imodium, and I really need some. And the look of shock and disgust on these poor people that were probably backpacking like their one time for the year's face. To the day I feel bad about that scene, but that's probably the funniest because, I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, one time I crapped myself on the Liberty Bell, but that wasn't on trail. I mean, that was just like a Friday in Philadelphia.
Yeah, there are no secrets on trail. No secrets on trail.
Oh, God, no.
You're trying to keep it quiet there, and Paul, he let everybody know. And I guess that's how you can tell. That'd be a good kind of bellwether of, who is a day hiker and who's a through hiker. Basing on, what's their reaction to that comment where you say, I crap my pants?
I crap my pants. I mean, there was a lot of shock and Paul. But I mean, what are you going to do? It was dinner time. Yeah. So
purge.
Yeah, the purge. That was the purge of the CDT. The AT. Yeah, I don't know if I crapped my pants with the AT. I was pretty young, It's kind of like, as you get older, I think that happens more and more. So, yeah. A couple times with the CDT. And since then, so just keeping it real. All right.
Keeping it real here. That's right. All right. Hey, let's talk about exciting things at 6 Moon Designs. We've got a brand new product launch coming up, and I know that you are chomping at the bit wanting to talk about this, and I want to hear about it. And I did a little research beforehand, and I came to the realization that I could have used this on my recent adventures in Europe, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't do a little more homework before I left.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we have a whole new product line launching here this coming month in August. It's called Adventure Trekking. And the whole concept was really born, Ron, our owner, very avid through hiker over a 50-year period almost. In the last probably 10 years, we've really gotten hiking on the Caminos over in Europe, and doing some hikes over in Asia too. But really the Camino, I think, would be like the driving force of this inspiration. And, you go over to Europe and you go hiking in the Camino or these hut-to-hut trips, and, you're walking every day about, 15, 17 miles, but you're going from an albergue in the morning to an albergue at night. Maybe you're stopping along the way, maybe you're packing lunch. And, you get to this albergue, and it's not a camping experience. It's much more of a social scene, that's part of the experience, is meeting people from all over the world. But everybody carries like a 65-liter Osprey Aether backpack as a top loader, like they're going to climb like Kilimanjaro. And I mean, you're literally walking from like a hotel to a hotel, more or less, or a hostel to a hostel. So then you get there and you got to like dig through your pack, and I need my bathing clothes and my towel, and my toiletries, and my clothes I wear at night, so I can rinse my clothes I hike in, so they can dry. It's like you're just packing and unpacking this top loading backpack, ripping through it. And he just realized, like, after I think like his first or second time there, he's like, there has to be a better way to backpack, like to have a pack for this activity. He's like, but it needs to be comfortable, because the real problem he saw was when he tried a lot of different packs is like all those quote unquote travel bags, a lot of them are like duffel bags with straps. There's actually no thought to a structure of a suspension system or anything. It's like, it's a duffel bag with straps. It's great for going from the Uber to the airport to the plane, and then the plane to my hotel, maybe by a train or whatever. Then leaving that bag there and grabbing a little day pack and then going and doing another adventure. Like that's what travel bags are really, most of them really are. So Ron's idea was, well, how can I combine the comfort and suspension of what we make for through hiking? Because, I mean, doing a Camino is a through hike. It's just a different way to through hike. But accommodate a bag that's actually designed for doing this hut-to-hut stuff, albergue to albergue, but also can travel the world with me. So it's like I can have one bag that I can jump on a plane for a 5-day business trip. And then while I'm there, they say, hey, you want to go backpacking for the weekend? It's like, yeah, I can just take that bag and throw whatever like synthetic clothes I have with me, and maybe grab a sleeping bag from someone to borrow and actually use it to go backpacking. So that's kind of the whole concept of like the whole adventure trekking line, is really exploring the world. It's kind of more for like that rural traveler who wants to kind of get off the beaten path. I mean, there's not a lot of hut-to-hut stuff in the U.S., but you go to Europe, you go to Asia, even like South America, Central America, Africa. They all have these different kind of styles of hiking. And so this is really more of a travel bag that can also be completely, used every day for like 20, 30 miles of walking if you want it to be. So that's kind of the whole concept behind the adventure trekking line.
Right. This is not a bag you would take on the PCT or the CDT. Not designed for that. But
I mean, it's not designed for that, but it's the same exact suspension system as the other bags that make for those trails. So, I mean, you could. It's just, I think the bags you make for thru hiking are maybe a little bit more suited for that specific activity. This is just like another tool in your toolkit. Yeah. So.
And how many bags in the product line?
So there's 2 bags that we're making. They're called the All Day Carry, or ADC, and the All Day Carry Plus. So it's kind of a play on like the everyday carry bag, or like, you hear a lot of like EDC, everyday carry, which really kind of comes from like the concealed weapons crowd, like the type of gun that they would carry every day. And then it kind of transferred from that to the bag crowd. So this is the all day carry. So everyone talks about an everyday carry bag, carry every day, but this bag's actually designed to not only carry every day, it's designed to be carried all day long. So that's where the name comes from. So the ADC and the ADC Plus, the only difference is the Plus is a 45-liter bag and the ADC is a 35-liter bag. So that's the only difference. And the only difference is the main compartment is like 2 inches deeper on the ADC Plus than is on the ADC.
Okay. And what are you planning for the launch? Any big activities, big promotions accompanying that?
I mean, we've been rolling out a lot of videos and information on it. So things like that. We don't necessarily have like any discounted prices starting off. I'm sure during our annual sales, there'll be some discounts along the way during the holidays and stuff. But no, really our launch is, we'll have them at PCT days. You can check them out. And then we're just going to be launching online. We've got a lot of information coming out in the next couple of weeks if it's not already out there. But it's not just the backpacks. The backpacks are awesome. I can show you one real quick here. This is the 45-liter. One thing we did too is we kind of teamed up with Challenge Sailcloth on this to use all of their fabrics for the ADC bags for a lot of them. So there's 3 different price points. We make some Robic nylon, which is just like a great pack material. It's kind of our entry level, maybe like a college student who's have a ton of money, going to go to Europe for the summer and backpack. Great bag for that. But really with Challenge Sailcloth, we decided to use their EPX 200 because of the sustainability and recyclable nature of that fabric. And then for all the liner using their RBC recycled bag cloth materials and 200 weights in your fabric that's made from recycled plastic bottles. So the entire bag, and even is all Challenge Sailcloth material, but the bulk of the material is a recycled polyester based material. So that's really great. And then we're also doing them in Ultra 200. So we got the 2 backpacks. That's kind of the main staple of the line. The bags are overhead compliant, so you can travel anywhere in the world with them. I've been to 4 continents and 7 countries with them in the last 9 months. They have a pass-through for a roller bag if needed. You can stash the straps. You can take off the hip belt. So it's just a great travel bag. But then it's also a great bag for doing like that hut-to-hut style hiking. So we have that. We're doing hard to see, it's all black, but this is a laptop sleeve. It's a lightly padded laptop sleeve. So most travel bags have a built-in laptop sleeve, so you pay a penalty on the weight of the foam. But if you're going to go hike the Camino, you don't really need a laptop. Why do you need to carry like 1.5 pounds of foam if you don't need to? So you put out. So our bags are like 30 to 35% lighter than any other travel bag, same size in the market. And then we're doing, these little like zip pouches, which are actually, see, I got one right here. I can show you. Hopefully nothing else falls. Oh, something else fell. But these are just like great, clear, see-through bags to keep all my cables and like just different things when I travel in there for electronics. Is really handy. We're doing a passport sleeve. It's an RFID blocking little crossbody bag. Super handy. Can open it up. Oh, let's see, can I open it up? Sorry, I was on a sales call today, so all these things are. And you can see inside, it's got a bunch of organization. Card holders, yes. Slot holders, pen holders. So RFID blocking fabric. And then the one I really love, we're making these bags called the Grocery Go Getter. And it's a crossbody bag that will unzip it. They fold up into their own little pocket like this when they're not being used.
Nice.
They're super light. They're like 1.5 ounces. They have waterproof YKK zippers on them, so you can actually zip it closed and actually lock the zippers, which is really nice when you're walking around in like Europe and stuff. And now we're going to come out with some like pack covers called the Shower Cap and a couple other items. So yeah, we have like a whole line of travel-specific, travel-centric gear coming out in the next couple of weeks. And, our hope is that people will realize, just like backpacking, there's a different way to do it. Like there's a different way to approach traveling internationally. You don't need to bring a big roller bag and schlep it all around Europe. Like you can have this nice lightweight bag, travel in Europe and then go for hikes with it and, kind of just travel the world in one bag. It's a lot of people do, but adopt this concept of adventure trekking of like, it's kind of like through hiking for people that don't want to sleep on the ground. Like there's a lot of these different hikes all around the world. It's a great way to do it. So just kind of trying to expand our reach to satisfy other people that maybe don't want to sleep in the dirt, like our typical through hiking, lovable dirt bags like myself,
I may be able to help sell Mrs. Doc on this concept if she doesn't have to sleep in the dirt. This is fantastic.
Yes. See? Exactly. I mean, I can just tell you, I've done a couple hikes in Europe, and it's pretty nice in all those sophisticated ways they do things over there. I mean, like having an Aperol spritz at the end of the day, not such a bad thing. I don't want to do it all the time, but it's like I appreciate what it is, and when I do it, I'm like, I'm going to embrace it. Like, I'm not going to the first time I went to Europe, I'm going to be honest, I slept outside the huts, and the next time I went, I was like, what am I doing, man? Just sleep in the hut. Like, it's right there. Like, you're sleeping outside. What are you doing? Like, you're saving 20 euros to not have dinner and have a really cool experience. Like, go have the cool experience, take a shower, So, if you ever get the opportunity, I highly recommend it. So,
and it's on my list. Definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Now, this is like a completely separate fourth product line for Six Moon Designs. This is huge.
Yeah, it's really huge. I mean, it's been a long time in development. I came to the company 6 years ago next month, and Ron's been playing around with travel stuff even before I was there, trying to figure out where we fit in and how we go up this market. And the thing is, for a brand like us, it's a really potentially really big market. Like last year, over 430,000 people completed a Compostela on the Camino, as opposed to how many people finished a through hike on the major 3 trails last year. You had up the PCT, the AT, and the CDT. I bet you maybe 5,000 people completed all 3 trails combined. So it's a much bigger user group. So, but it's also scary territory. I mean, I've spent the last really 24 months researching the travel industry, researching, what products do well, where can we fit in, what is our niche? And I think our niche really comes to the fact that we're making a bag that's really, really comfortable, yet really, really functional. And, the fact that it's lighter and we're adopting our lightweight, one bag through hiker ultralight ways to travel, I think it really helped people enjoy traveling a lot more.
Yeah, same straps and hip belts that are on your through hiking bags.
Yep. Yeah, same. That shares all the same components. All these bags come with a large shoulder yoke and a medium hip belt standard, but you can swap them out upon purchase. And I mean, they pair really well with some of our existing products. Like our packing pods do well in them. They're all designed to fit our packing pods. The 35-liter bag, the main compartment is designed to hold 3. The 45 is designed to hold 4. It's got a place to store your trekking poles. It's got a ton of features. I can't do it justice on a podcast. All I can say is go to our website, look up All Day Carry or ADC, check out the videos on it. There's some great overviews we made. Our company invested a lot of time, resources into this product launch, professional made movies that you can see me star in and talk about the features and design and sustainability. And, it's really kind of a leap of faith for 6 Moon to kind of enter this bigger market. But we disrupted the backpacking world market 22 years ago with a bunch of other, ultralight rebels. And, I think the time is now to, why not mix up another product segment at this point?
Well, if you're starring in the movies, I'm definitely going online and taking a look at those.
You definitely should.
And this sounds like it's been a thoughtful, methodical, well-researched process. This is sometimes you get people that have a good idea and they rush to get it out there. And in rushing, they don't do it justice and it's not ultimately successful. Sounds like you guys have taken a lot of time on this.
Yeah, I would say probably one of the biggest tension points between me and my boss is I kind of want to try to get things to market quicker than he does. And, he's kind of got the older bull kind of, hey, make sure it's right approach to the point where nothing you ever put out is going to be 100% right. And we kind of had one thing right before we went to production. He's like, listen, nothing you ever put out is going to be 100%. He's like, this is the reality. That's why you have generation 2 to improve it. which is really actually a good mindset. But yeah, I mean, I think we maybe would have moved quicker on this. I think we would have entered the space faster if it hadn't been for COVID. But, we were on kind of the cusp of some of this stuff right before COVID. But, that just kind of changed the way the world traveled. And our focus at that point just became making sure we could keep product on the shelves for our retailers we were partnered with, during the crazy times. And, the last couple of years, we've really kind of recentered on this project, really focused in. And I'd say the last 18, 24 months, there's been some very dedicated focus to the best way to bring this product to market, and also making sure that we had a product line that was well-rounded, that it wasn't just one item trying to stand alone. And this is an ecosystem of products that also complement our existing product lines. So it's pretty exciting times, honestly.
Very exciting. And the Camino and European hiking, those are items that are on my bucket list. So I'm going to be happy to represent 6 Moon Designs with the ADC out there.
You let me know. Yeah. I mean, it really is. It's like, I would just say, if you ever have the opportunity, anyone, go. If you ever get the opportunity to go over to Europe, I didn't get to go I was in my 40s, but man, it's really cool. It's just a totally different mindset of how they do it. And, I like that mountain culture, though. It's not, like I said, it's not what I want to do every day, but I appreciate for what it is and the cultural side of it. And I've had some great conversations in mountain huts on the Alps, just like with some remarkable people from all around the world that I never would have met otherwise if I hadn't been out there. So.
Well, hey, I wish 6 Moon Designs the best of luck in this venture. I can't wait to see them available for purchase. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Now, Whitney, you mentioned earlier on that you had an adventure coming up in the fall. Did you mention what it was going to be? What's next?
I did not. I was planning on doing the Colorado Trail most of this year, but I kind of like things a little bit more off the beaten path, and I didn't want to be away for a full month. So I'm going to try to hike this new trail called the Idaho Wilderness Trail, which is very similar to the Idaho Centennial Trail through the Frank Church River No Return, the Stellway Bitterroot Mountains, the Sawtooth Wilderness. But it kind of takes a different line, a little bit more high country. Some of my friends who've done the Idaho Centennial Trail said, actually, that line I think would actually maybe be a little bit better route through there. But plan on giving that a go as long as the fires don't, stay at bay, which luckily Idaho right now, knock wood, has been doing okay. But that's about, they say it's 285. Everything I mapped out is like 361 miles, but it's just pure wilderness. I talked to a friend today who did the Idaho Centennial Trail, and he said, when I would do that same stretch, I didn't have a cell signal in 17 days to just be ready. So, yeah. So it's one of the biggest it's the biggest roadless area in the lower 48. It's one of the largest wilderness areas. It's like the largest wilderness areas outside of Alaska. And it's the second place when they reintroduced wolves to Yellowstone. The other place they reintroduced wolves was the Frank Church River No Return. So it has like a huge wolf population too. So that's my September plan, is go spend about 3 weeks walking through there.
Wow. Just make sure to take your wind shirt and you'll be okay.
Wind shirt and my zoom lens. Going to carry a big, heavy camera on this trip, even though it's a long trip. Just, the opportunity to get to see, I've only seen 2 wolves in the wild, and to really be able to see one and actually get a photograph would be a pretty, lifelong dream, honestly, for me. It'd be a really remarkable experience. So.
I can't wait to see the photos. Wow. I would be puckering myself, looking through the viewfinder there and seeing a wolf.
I don't think wolves attack people from what I've researched in my life. But they are big. You're right. They're big creatures.
They are.
The first time I saw one in the wild, I was like, wow, that thing's massive. So
you don't realize how massive they are until you see them next to a regular dog.
Yeah, that, or honestly, just like their paw prints. Like, I've come across their paw prints a lot when I'm backpacking in the mud, and you're like, wow, that is a massive print. Compared to like a 100-pound black lab, you're like, wow, that is huge. So yeah, they're big animals. They're big creatures. So.
All right. Hey, Allgood, do you know where we are right now?
Hiker hack?
Hiking hacks.
Yes.
That's right. It's time for your hiking hack. And this segment is sponsored by the outdoor clothing brand Magnet Designs. Thru Hiker owned and making quality ultralight craft outdoor gear by hand in Bend, Oregon. Designed on trail, built for trail life. Visit magnetdesigns.com with no E in designs. Are you familiar with Magnet?
I follow him on Instagram. We haven't had the opportunity to cross paths yet. We have one mutual friends, but I do want to give that guy a big shout out. He hiked the Chinook Trail this spring. And this is the 10th anniversary this year of the first through hike of the Chinook Trail that me and Liz Thomas, Snorkel and Tomato did together in 2014. And man, I mean, it's just awesome to see someone else just went out there and went for it, because it's still kind of like a underground through hike trail in the Pacific Northwest. And I mean, it's not like there's not a great information necessarily out there. And the Chinook Trail Association's working really hard to make it a thing and make it happen and get the information out. But yeah, big shout out to that guy. It was pretty cool to see him do that. I was like, right on, man. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. So
James Parsons, he lives up in Bend and goes by the trail name Magnet. I met him on the PCT a couple of years ago, met him at a restaurant near where I live, and met him and his group of friends that he was hiking with. They were fantastic, and he's doing a great job. He decided that he was tired of the 9 to 5, and he dropped out and went for it with this outdoor clothing gear that he's doing right now.
Yeah, he does like a lot of Alpha Direct stuff, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I've seen stuff online. It looks really, yeah.
Okay, so back to the hiking hack. What trail wisdom do you have for our listeners to make their next outdoor adventure even better? All good.
All right. Well, I actually stole a piece of hiker hack advice from my hiking partner that I hike a lot with, Mike, because this is his favorite hack that I have now subscribed to after hiking in New Mexico. If you're going to be on a trail that goes through lots of towns, especially in a rural area, you might want to look into a rural bus system, because there's been a lot of funds provided for rural development and connectivity in a lot of rural communities in New Mexico in particular, California, Wyoming. They have these bus systems that are actually like free, and they're like more like airport style buses that connect different rural towns. So if you effectively can use public transportation, you can slack pack yourself for multiple days staying in the same town. So,
fantastic.
For instance, one of his favorite is on the Appalachian Trail Manchester Center. There's a bus system. And he's like, I slack packed for 3 days using the public bus system. He's like, I just took the bus way down south and then hiked one day to town. And then the next day I hiked north and I took the bus back. And then the next day I took the bus north and I hiked north farther and then took the bus back. So you get like multiple slack pack days in a row using public transportation. So that was my hiker hack for the day. That is next level hiker hack information there. And Mike Unger, big shout out to that guy. He's like the unsung mile monster of the long distance hiking community. That guy has hiked for, God, like over 2 decades, countless miles. He's the most off the radar hiker you'll ever meet. It's just awesome.
That is awesome. That is next level, like you said. Okay.
Yep.
Now, there you have it. We're just about done here. Hope our listeners enjoyed our time with Allgood. Want to thank you for joining us this week. Whitney, how can our listeners keep up with you on social media, and where can they find updates on your latest adventures, particularly your upcoming fall trip?
Probably Instagram, which would be AGK9 Adventures. K is in the letter K, 9 is in the number 9. That'd be the best way. Yeah, that'd probably be the best way to follow me. I don't post frequently, but I'll probably post a lot when I get back in town after that trip.
Okay. And I would also recommend everybody follow Six Moon Designs on Instagram as well.
Oh, you should definitely follow Six Moon Designs on Instagram or YouTube, or, we don't really post to TikTok, but we have a TikTok account. We're on there. Facebook, Instagram, those are the best ways to find us and find me. I mean, I wound up in a lot of stuff because, I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing, so I'm everywhere. Trail events, videos, you name it.
That's right. You're already paid. They don't have to pay another actor. They just use you.
Exactly. Yeah, when you have a real-life living cartoon, why would you pay for one?
Exactly. All right. Hey, remember to check out Hiker Trash Radio on social media as well. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I tag you guys all the time on TikTok. And if you have comments or clips you want to share with me, you can send it to me at hikertrashradio@gmail.com.
Off the beaten path.
Now, unfortunately, Allgood, we can't always be on the trail. And when we're not, we need to find a way to get our adventure fix. So I'm going to ask you to share some outdoor adventure media with our listeners to help them get by. This could be a book, a movie, a documentary. We call this segment Off the Beaten Path. What recommendation do you have for us?
Oh, man. I may be the wrong guy. I don't know how your listeners feel about polar exploration, but there's a great book called Karluk the Ice Master about a wrought failed trip to the North Pole, and I just got to say, it's the antithesis of endurance. Let's just say more than one man dies. Great book, though. Really great book of human endurance and suffering if you're into that kind of thing. So that'd be a good fix. Good to read on a hot summer day.
Love it. We talk about the fact that there are many branches on the outdoor adventure tree. Through hiking is just one of the branches. Polar expeditions, a completely different branch, but equally exciting. I've talked many times about endurance on this podcast because it's just absolutely incredible. So this is like the opposite of that. I'm definitely going to check that out. Okay.
Yes. It's a great book.
Nicely done. I'm not sure where you pulled that one out of, but you did a great job with that one.
Yeah.
What have we not asked you?
And before we wrap things up tonight, just one more segment for you called What Have I Not Asked You that you're dying to tell us about? What do we miss tonight?
I recently bought a freeze dryer, and if you're a backpacker and you're looking to expand your culinary repertoire while on trail, I would recommend exploring the world of freeze drying. There is a lot of initial capital expenditure up front, but I found a friend who's also a thru hiker who lives in my neighborhood. We decided to split one, and it kind of works out quite economically that way because we kind of share the burden because you're not using it every day. But yeah, I've really been enjoying using this freeze dryer. I've been making some really amazing trail food like cioppino soup, like game changer. Hot cioppino soup at the end of the day on trail. Now we're talking. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That explains the earlier part of the day when I discussed my latest Google search of can I freeze dry a cheeseburger, which apparently you can. So we're going to be trying that in the next week or so.
Hey, just one question for you. Does that freeze dryer feel like my childhood where it was every other weekend and one night a week at the other parent's house?
I mean, we thought it was going to be like that. But they're like the size of a washing machine and about as heavy as one too. We're like, I guess we should leave it at your house and I'll just come by when I want to do food. So yeah, I mean, we kind of plan it out. We don't use it all the time, but like I'm getting ready for my hike. So I'm running it pretty hard right now. Like the next couple of weeks, I'll be doing probably 3 more batches of food through it, but it does 20 pounds of food at a time. So it's quite a bit of food you can get through it.
Are there any freeze drying videos yet?
No, I should make some of those. I should. You know what? I should because the freeze dryer seems really popular with the preppers, not so much the hiking community yet. So maybe I'm missing an untapped TikTok resource. Become YouTube famous for hiker food on TikTok. Yeah,
a whole nother
market.
Maybe
you see this gourmet food he's making.
All right. Hey, we are finished. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast, and we wish you the very best in your upcoming adventure in Idaho this fall.
Thanks.
Can't wait to hear more about that. As we close up, any shout outs to anybody?
Just a big shout out, to all those thru hikers I meet throughout the year. All the crew I met at CDT kickoff and trail days. Hope you guys are all having great hikes this summer. Hope it's still going well for you, taking care of those feet. Big shout out to everybody at 6 Moon Designs, the whole crew there. I mean, they keep it going and make my life easier to be on the road all the time. And they just, that crew. And then I guess finally, to my wife, Susie, and my parents, one last shout out to mom and dad. Thanks for helping me follow my dreams and become the dirtbag I always know I could be in life.
All right. Hey, listeners, thank you for tuning in. Always remember, the trail is the trail. It doesn't care if you want to go downhill. It doesn't care if it's almost dark and you're looking for a campsite. It doesn't even care if you just finished all the surplus chili at 2 Medicine and that stomach is gurgling. The trail is the trail. Embrace the sock.
Thank you.